Hi, my name is Hardin Coleman. I'm Dean of the School of Education at Boston University, and I want to talk today about teacher evaluation. It's a major issue in the news. The unions are dealing with the issue in terms of what type of data would be appropriate for teacher evaluations. Those in school reform believe that finding a way to attach student achievement to teacher performance is a very critical element in moving forward the reform agenda, and all of those have merit, and these are issues and concerns we have to think about a lot about. As we know, most of the assessments are in math or English, and if you're a music teacher or a certain type of history teacher, or you're doing physics and not math, you really don't get assessed in terms of these high-stake tests. So one of the things that we have to think about is assessment is a much more complex process in the type of data we use. But I want to talk about the other piece of assessment, is like when and how do we use assessment, not just the data that we bring in, but how do we use it, and kind of address some of the myths that run around in this conversation that make it difficult for us to make good policy decisions. The first is the theory of teacher tenure. Teachers, in fact, don't have tenure in the same way we think of tenure at a university, where once you are granted tenure at a university, you actually have it until you decide to retire or demonstrate it as incompetent. That's not what happens with teachers. What happens is after 3 years, they then have essentially a rolling contract, a rolling rising contract, that as long as they pass their evaluations, which should occur yearly, they will keep their job. And that if they have to have due process to remove them from the jobs, or that the school system sitting down is losing money to pay. So in fact, they do not have tenure. What they have is an ongoing rolling horizons. But what we don't have in the field of education is what's happens in the military. So in the military, there's a constant process, particularly in the officer's rank, where once you become a lieutenant, there's certain grades you can keep going up. And there are grades of lieutenants, grades of captains, even grades of generals. And the expectation is that you continue to seek to improve your skills and your ability to go up the ranks. And if you get passed over in that promotion process, then you're somewhat expected to leave, or it's understood that you are not going to have the same levels of responsibility and respect. And I would advocate for something similar to that in the teacher corps, where we understand that becoming a great teacher is a lifelong process, and staying a great teacher demands lifelong learning and lifelong involvement, and that we should assess it, that we should clearly put the resources, as we do in the military, as we do in the medical profession, where we put resources behind professional development. We have expectations. So if I'm a physician and I'm doing knee replacements, and a new, better approach to knee replacements comes out, I'm expected to learn it, or I lose my license to perform that duty. I think the same thing should be happening in the teacher corps, and that we should reinforce an ongoing system of rigorous evaluation, provide people the training and the support, test them on their skills using student achievement scores, using other forms of assessment, observe them in the practice, give them feedback, and if they're not performing, don't move them up the ranks. Don't put them up pay more money, but do the evaluation and do the support, and don't just arbitrarily say, I'm going to attach student achievement scores to and think that that's going to change. What's going to change is when we have sophisticated ways of doing assessments, of rating and ranking our teachers, providing them promotions as a function of their performance, and have that a lifelong process.